Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Malaysia continues to work out the diplomatic, technical and logistical challenges involved in the search for MH370. We are still awaiting information from the Australian search and rescue operation as to whether the objects shown in the satellite images released by Australia yesterday are indeed related to MH370. In the meantime, we are continuing search and rescue operations in the rest of the southern and northern corridors. I will now give you a brief operational update as usual. Search efforts southwest of Perth continues, and the Australian authorities are intensifying their efforts in the area. HMAS Success is due to reach the vicinity of the objects tomorrow. China has deployed 5 ships and 3 ship-borne helicopters, which are currently heading towards the southern corridor. 3 Chinese aircrafts, 2 Illusion 1 IL-76s, and 1 Shaanxi Y-8 arrived in Malaysia at 1100 this morning. They will also be searching in the southern corridor. Japan is deploying its assets to Perth, including 2 P-3 Orions, to assist with the Australian search efforts. This morning, I have spoken with the Acting High Commissioner from the United Kingdom, who confirmed that the Prime Minister has spoken to the Prime Minister of the UK, and the HMS Echo is already heading towards the southern Indian Ocean to support the search effort. He also confirmed that the UK will be providing us with a list of possible assets that can be deployed if needed. He also reaffirmed that in addition to the technical support provided so far, it stands ready to provide further specialist search and investigative assistance once more information about the fate of MH370 becomes known. I have also been in touch with the French delegation, which is led by the French ambassador to Malaysia and includes the men who led the investigation into Air France 447 crash. They have agreed to assist us with their considerable experience and expertise. I will also be speaking to the US Secretary of Defense at 21:15 tonight to request further specialist assets to help with the search and rescue efforts, including remotely operated vehicles for deep ocean salvage. The Kazakhstan authorities have assured us that they have not found any trace of MH370, and we are awaiting permission for Kazakhstan to be used as a staging point for search operations. On the police investigation, the Ukraine police have confirmed that the background checks on the Ukrainian passengers have come back clear. I would like to briefly discuss the processing of the Inmarsat data. The investigations team received the complete raw Inmarsat satellite data, which included the 6 handshakes at approximately 1500 on Wednesday, 12th of March. This type of data is not normally used in investigation of this sort. It is only because we have so little other information to go on in this difficult and unprecedented situation that the data is being used. Upon receiving the raw data, the Malaysian authorities immediately discussed with the US team how this information might be used. The US team and the investigations team then sent the data to the US, where further processing was needed before it could be used. Initial results were received on Thursday, the 13th of March at approximately 13:30, but it was agreed by the US team and the investigations team that further refinement was needed, so the data was again sent back to the US. The results were received at approximately 2:30 on Friday the 14th of March and presented to the investigations team at a high-level meeting at 2100 on Friday. The UK AAIB, who had also been processing this data independently, presented their results, which concurred with ours and those of the US team at that meeting. The Prime Minister was briefed on the satellite information at 8 a.m. Saturday the 15th of March and publicly announced it at the press conference at Saturday lunchtime. Search and rescue operations were immediately shifted to the northern and southern corridors. Last night in Kuala Lumpur, we held a briefing for the relatives of those on board MH370. As I mentioned in yesterday's statement, the briefing was to update family members on the latest developments and to answer questions and clear up any confusion. The meeting was well attended by family members from different nations, including Malaysia, and by representatives from the Chinese embassy in Kuala Lumpur. A high-level Malaysian delegation, including representatives from Malaysian Airlines, the Department of Civil Aviation, the Ministry of Transport, the Ministry of Defence, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the National Security Council also attended the meeting. We had a very constructive and frank discussion. Although we answered most of the questions they raised, we could not answer them all. These briefings will continue at the family's convenience for as long as the families want them. The briefing brought the families and the Malaysian authorities closer together, not just in terms of sharing information, but also in terms of listening to the voice of the family members. The Prime Minister's Special Envoy to China will be coordinating the briefings in Kuala Lumpur from now on. The high-level team I announced yesterday arrived in Beijing last night. Today they met with family members for 3.5 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, this continues to be a multinational effort coordinated by Malaysia and involving dozens of countries from around the world. We continue to receive offers of assistance, including specialist assets that can help with the search and rescue. And we welcome all assistance as we continue to follow every credible lead. For the search, the Southern Corridor has always been a challenge. And I have to thank the Australian authorities and also expertise from the US. And like I said, I will be seeking further assistance from the Secretary of Defense, US, tonight. In the event that we do not find the debris in the near future, I will reveal and inform the media what are our plans in the Southern Corridor. But let me just stress that the most sophisticated planes, aircrafts, and vessels are heading in that direction. Some have actually even covered the area. You're talking about the P3 Orions. You're talking about the P8 Poseidon. There are only 2 in this world. And US has given us permission and have deployed that in that area. So yes, it is a challenge, but we are using every possible asset and equipment that is available to the world out there to locate the aircraft. Honestly, the search now has taken a global perspective. I don't think there's any bigger search and rescue operation being done right now. To have the US, the Chinese, the Japanese all working together with all the sophisticated equipment, and Malaysia is only just a coordinating country, because it would be impossible to have such sophisticated equipment within our armory. But the fact that their support has been overwhelming, that is what I meant. But with the most sophisticated equipment out there in the world, and if we as a global community cannot narrow it, I don't know who else can. So basically now you've got the Poseidon, you've got the P3, satellite images have focused to some areas. That is what I meant by on the operational side, the narrowing of the corridor, especially the Southern Corridor, as you can see, raises its own challenges, and the depth of the sea, the weather and the waves. If we do not find it within the 30 days, it brings in other issues of how to locate, as the French airline had to take 2 years to find, and that comes into a different realm of search and rescue. This shows that we are concentrating on both corridors. And in relation to Kazakhstan, they have said that they have no news or confirmation that the airplane was in their airspace. And we are waiting a reply from them as to whether we can use Kazakhstan as a staging point. And until and unless they confirm that, I wouldn't be in a position to say more.
Yes, we received it 13th of March on Wednesday. We collaborated with our investigating team from the US team, and in the end of the day, we analyze it and come up with the two corridors, the northern corridors and southern corridors. And from the what we have gathered from the communication with the pilot, ATC and pilot, we have not come to any conclusion because we have to get more information from the aircraft itself. I don't want to go out. It's very sensitive now to the next of kin, but we have to get the more evidence if we get the aircraft itself. That's what our main aim now is, to find the aircraft.
That has got a direct. I have to be very careful here, not to alarm the family members, but the Pinger locator hydrophones relates to us locating the black box, and that was used by the French team. Very limited countries have got that capability, and I have been talking to leaders of those countries for the possibility of using or being given the chance or the opportunity to use them. I can confirm that my discussions with some of the intelligence agencies, international intelligence agencies, have come back to me that they have not found anything unusual from the manifest. They have looked at the passenger manifest earlier, but we have requested that they re-look at the list. And this is my own personal information that I've received from the intelligence agencies. As far as the simulator is concerned, we have forwarded the information in there to international parties to verify, and within, I believe, in a very short period of time, the IGP might be able to come to you to inform you of the latest development on that.
Kita sedang buat persiapan untuk kedua-dua kemungkinan tadi, dan dari segi persiapan dengan keluarga kita sedia maklum, dan kita dapat
Sekiranya maklumat yang kita terima daripada pihak-pihak yang berkenaan dapat disampaikan kepada mereka secepat mungkin dalam kedua-dua perkara ini. Tapi malangnya setakat hari ini, setakat pukul 5.40, tidak ada perkembangan yang positif yang untuk kita sampaikan kepada mereka. Kita akan teruskan dan masih lagi bersemangat untuk operasi mencari dan insya-Allah untuk menyelamat. Dan apa maklumat yang saya terima daripada pasukan Perancis, di mana kapal terbang Perancis mengambil masa 2 tahun untuk kita cari dan dapat balik kotak hitam itu. Ada teknologi yang lain yang digunakan selepas 30 hari tempoh yang telah pun ditetapkan.